Can you imagine traveling to a country, being able to talk to everyone, even closing deals in a language in which you don't even know how to greet? Well, listen. The logical thing is to hire a translator who charges you between 20–50 euros an hour for basic matters. Simply for a zero technical translation, and even more than $50 each hour for a translation. That is about a topic like medicine, engineering, or anything of this style. However, hey, technology is applied to more fields every day, also accompanied by artificial intelligence. Well, today I want to introduce you to the Timekettle W4 Pro headphones that allow us to translate in real time 40 languages and 93 accents. In addition, they incorporate artificial intelligence to be able to transcribe and summarize recordings or the conversations we have. So in this video, we are going to see what these headphones are capable of. And we're going to start by talking about the design. They come in a case with a shiny plastic on the front and a matte plastic with the button to start it. Sink them on the back, and all its edge would be in metal with a USB-C port to charge both the case and the headphones. Once we open them, we find two little trays. This is because we will have a small tray with an arrow pointing towards us, clearly indicating it is for us. And the R indicates that it is the right earphone. While the other tray will unfold with a little arrow pointing towards the person with whom we will share the other earphone. As you can see, this magnetized box allows simultaneous charging of both cases. And also, it's designed this way so that the earphone we use is always the same and we don't have to sanitize it, clean it every time it's used. However, we have a different one that the left one is always going to be the one we lend to another person to clean it after each use. I believe the issue is well considered, particularly regarding hygiene. Because, hey, if in the end we're going to talk to a lot of people, imagine a technology fair. Well, we could be sharing the same earpiece with different people. Well, hey, we would always know which one we share so we can clean it. The case of these headphones weighs 188 grams, which makes it very versatile to carry it to any kind of place in a backpack. And beyond what it takes up, it's not going to weigh us down or bother us. Then, each of the headphones, separately, would weigh about 16 grams, which makes them very comfortable to wear in the ear, and they are quite light. As I mentioned, this case allows us to charge the devices, providing a capacity of 800 mAh. Each earbud is going to have a capacity of 110 milliamp hours, and it would take us about an hour and a half to charge the case. And it would give us about 6 hours of translation, about 8 hours on a call, or up to 12 hours simply. For example, when playing back multimedia content like music on Spotify. They are extremely efficient because they have the Bluetooth 5.3 connection standard, which is the latest standard we have on the market for this type of technology. And a curious thing about the design is that we have LEDs in each earbud, the same color as we have. The identifying letter of whether it is right or left, so that you don't confuse the right with the left right would be green, while the left would be blue. Many of you will ask then, hey, if the case has a good magnetic capacity, the truth is that it does. I mean, you have to apply quite a bit of force to separate it, and if we move it, it's not going to come out. Don't be afraid, because you have to consciously apply quite a bit of force for both cases to separate. Then, the headphones, well, more of the same. We have some little trays that, as I've told you, don't allow these headphones to come out, so they are very well designed. But I don't want to bore you anymore with technical data, because in the end, what's important is how they work. Just to tell you that we are going to have 3 modes of use. One mode in which each person is going to put on a headphone. And through this, we are going to configure the languages in which each of us is going to speak, and then the translation. What each person says would be heard by the other person in the language they have chosen. Then we are going to have a second mode, in which we both put on the headphones, and what would be the other device would be our mobile phone. Our mobile is going to act as, for example, a microphone, and we are going to hear what the mobile picks up in our native language. And the third mode is related to, hey, what if, for example, the person I want to communicate with is not face-to-face with me? Well, these headphones, the Timekettle W4 Pro, have the ability to hear everything that happens on our mobile, as well as calls or even YouTube videos or real-time streams, and play it in our native language through the headphones. However, we're going to take all of this to the table and look at it closely. Let's see how these Timekettle W4 Pro would be used. As I've told you before, every time we open the lid, it will remind us that the right one would be the one we keep with that little arrow indicating to us, while the left one would be the one with the little arrow pointing towards a person who's in front. And would that be the earpiece we would have to hand over? After this, we're going to connect to the mobile application, and this is going to be the interface we're going to encounter. An interface that at the top indicates the battery level of each of the earpieces. It estimates that we have the possibility to use them offline for about 6 hours. What happens is that we should first download the languages to be able to use it in this way. And then we are going to have all the options that Timekettle allows us, the first and simplest to understand one-on-one. This is going to be the option that will allow us to use each of the headphones on one person and configure which headphone will translate to which language. In this case, I'm going to do a test with my sister, and we're going to select that the right one, which is going to be the one I keep, will be in Spanish. As shown, there will be 40 languages and 93 accents. I'm going to choose the accent from Spain, while my sister is going to have a headset and is going to speak in United Kingdom, English, United Kingdom. Once each person has their headset, we're going to directly start the recording or the conversation. Hi, how are you? What's your favorite television series?
My favorite series at the moment is Breaking Bad. I'm actually watching it on Netflix.
So, I have already heard in my earpiece what she has said, but in Spanish, I have heard. My favorite series right now is Breaking Bad. In fact, I'm watching it on Netflix while my sister has said this. Well, you've heard it perfectly. We also have the possibility to put the screen horizontally, and thus we focus much more on the conversation. Hello, good afternoon. I'd like a coffee with milk, please. How much is it?
Okay, so it would be £2.
Okay, perfect. Then I'll have a coffee with milk and a Neapolitan. And here I would be telling the other person in English what I said in Spanish. Another mode is listen and play, allowing us to leave the mobile device behind. For example, on a classroom table at a university. And could we listen to it in our native language? Let's do a test. My sister will directly put on both headphones, and I will keep the mobile so you can see the translation it is making. In this case, what I'm going to do is set the mobile to be in Spanish. But as you can see, we have a lot of Spanish from Mexico, Honduras, Panama, even Argentina. And then we're going to set, for example, that now the English, for a change, is from the United States of America. So directly now, we're going to say listening, which would mean that the phone listens and translates to the headphones everything that is being said in English. Let's do, for example, a test. Hello, good afternoon, welcome to the university, and today we are going to start with a math class. We are going to start by giving the Pythagorean theorem for all those who do not know what the Pythagorean theorem is. It is a formula that tells us that a squared plus b squared is equal to 100 squared. We have said all this text in Spanish, it has detected it here, and it would have been translating it into English in the headphones. Now, conversely, we can do the same. We can set the phone to be the one that's listening.
Hello, Cassie. How are you? This morning I had a coffee for breakfast.
Hello, Cassie. How are you? I had coffee for breakfast.
Well, as you can see here, everything that is said in the headphones, wouldn't it be translating to Spanish on the mobile device? To give another example, I am now going to speak in Spanish and I want the translation to be done in Italian. Let's see how to order a coffee in Italian. Good afternoon. I would like to order a coffee with milk.
Now I will speak Spanish and I would like the translation to be done in Italian. Let's see how to order a parfait in Italian. Good morning. I am about to order a coffee with milk.
Well, that's how you would order a coffee with milk in Italy. Another mode of operation is to translate all the multimedia content of our applications, such as YouTube or Netflix, into our native language. So I'm going to hit play. A little window opens up for us in the background. And for example, we could put on a video of Marcus Brownlee that would be in English. And to this video, you are going to start seeing down here everything it recognizes, and it would be translating it into Spanish through the headphones in real time. In fact, well, to give you an idea, here we are seeing all the translation it is doing in real time. However, this can be confusing, as it is indeed true. This doesn't mean we stop listening to the original video by Marcus Brownlee, but we listen at the same volume. the translation. So it might be good for a very unfamiliar language, like for example, Chinese. But keep in mind that it can be a bit dizzying to listen to both voices at the same time. And finally, we will have the option to translate the calls that I had told you about. This is super useful if, for example, we are going to meet with someone over a call whom we can't have in front of us. Simply, we would need to connect the headphones to our mobile device. And once we start the call, transmit this call through the Timekettle W4 Pro. Once we hit OK, we will be able to select, well, listen, the person we are going to call is going to speak in United States English while I want to receive this message in Spanish. Something that seems a bit wrong to me is that these headphones already cost quite a bit of money, and yet this option is going to cost us money. We are going to initially have about 300 minutes of free calls available, but after that we would have to pay for it. It's not going to be especially expensive. You will see that, for example, 500 minutes, well, right now they would not be free, and then, well, we could buy some. Well, for 10 fees, which if we hit get it now, would be about $10, and it's not going to be especially expensive. But hey, it's annoying that we have to pay for something that already, hey, the product costs its money. So let's do a test. We have set it up in English and Spanish. We are going to call, and we are going to see how it translates a call in real time. As you can see now, we have already started a call with my sister who is going to speak in English. So we have directly started the recording here, and we are going to see what the real-time translation is like. I am speaking in Spanish, and now I am going to ask her to say anything in English.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, and you, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Feel like going to a cafe for a coffee today?
Oh, that would be a brilliant idea.
Great, then I think we can meet at 6 in the afternoon, if that's okay with you.
That sounds great.
As you've seen, this translation was done in real time. I was receiving the call and was listening to the little voice of the translator in Spanish, while my sister was listening to this same voice. She wasn't listening to me directly, but she was listening to these messages that I was speaking in Spanish in English. But once we've seen all the modes of translation operation, let's see how the topic of artificial intelligence that this application allows us would work. Well, we're going to have several things. One of the most interesting things to me is being able to practice a language with a personalized tutor. We're going to be able to do this directly from here, and we're going to be able to start a conversation with an English teacher. Hello, my name is Alejandro. I enjoy driving my car and recording some technological videos. I like to make videos about my iPhone or Apple devices, and so we could be talking for a while, well, hey, between one person and me, which is really good, because it ultimately compels us to practice English, which is what many of us in Spain lack. But hey, I told you English, but could we also do it with Chinese, for example? Just like language translation, we can do it in 40 languages, as I told you before. In addition, we have the possibility to summarize each of the conversations we have had in this application. We would directly have the voice recording, and we would generate a summary. And here we would have, well, hey, a summary of the meeting. Topic: meeting at a cafe to have a coffee. Date and time: today at 6 in the evening. 2 people organize a meeting at a cafe and enjoy a coffee together. Well, the truth is that it's very good. It's a very simple conversation that we've had. But here it would be generating, well, this summary. When we were talking about Netflix, for example, it tells us that we had an informal conversation about a coffee purchase, and we've been talking about series like Breaking Bad. About a latte, or for example, that the coffee cost us £2 and we also wanted a Neapolitan. But we also have that part of artificial intelligence that allows us to summarize or ask for certain things, certain searches of all our conversations that we have recorded. The accuracy of the Timekettle translation is said to be close to 95%, and the truth is that it is quite believable, as well as the translation being done in half a second. This might be a little higher based on my experience, but hey, the truth is that it's very good and makes things a lot easier. Something I forgot to tell you is that these headphones are not in-ear but go outside the ears. That is, we place this counterweight on the back of the ear, and once it's in place, the headphone itself transmits the sound into the ear. But as you're seeing, there's no kind of rubber or absolutely anything that has to go inside our ear. This makes it a bit more hygienic, if possible, for a device that, after all, we're going to have to share with multiple people. And hey, I've told you that this is useful for work, but why have I focused so much on that? Yes, well, because above all it occurs to me that beyond. For example, having it at the university to be able to record all the classes and make summaries, and then, well, have them in our language. If you attend an international university, for instance. The most useful thing is if you have no control over a language, especially if you want to do business in another country. And it's normal to hire a translator. Based on my personal experience, hiring a translator, for example, from Spanish to English, can cost you around $50 per hour. However, these headphones cost 450 euros, which means we hear every time we have to use them instead of paying 50 euros. Would we have amortized what it would be to pay a translator by the 10th time we use these Timekettle W4 Pro as a person? Which, hey, the truth is that I think it's not bad at all. And in the end, is this something we're going to be able to use many more times and get that profitability out of it? But hey, now I also want to know what your opinion is. Would you use translator headphones like these? If you think it's worth it, just to let you know that we have also done the review of other similar headphones, somewhat simpler, somewhat more homemade. If you don't need something so professional, we have done several reviews on the channel, which we will leave below in the description or also linked on this upper right side. That concludes it. If you still have questions, leave them in the comments. Having said that, if you liked the video, leave a like and see you in the next one. Goodbye.